Hey YouTube, I just wanted to talk about one of my favorite bands from the late 80s, early 90s, Christian rock band Angelica. So I didn't really get into these guys until about this past year. I'd heard of them for years and I just never really tried them out. Maybe I'd heard uh, the song Cover Me because I had this old VHS called Hot Metal 4, and I think it was like a Frontline Records, Intense Records, whatever VHS that had a bunch of different Christian rock and metal bands on it. It had like Ken Tamplin, Shout, Deliverance, Tourniquet, Vengeance Rising, and then it had the Angelica Cover Me video. And it's like, for whatever reason, that song never like pulled me into listen to the rest of the album or anything. But I would say back around Christmas time of 2023, sometime around there, right before Christmas, I started listening to them. I just decided, I'm going to put on and listen to a whole album while I work. And, so I put in the wireless earbuds and I started listening to the whole album because that's really the best way to find out what a band is all about, is to listen to the whole record. Because if you just pick certain songs, a lot of times the songs that they pick to be a single, the record labels they pick to be a single aren't necessarily the band's best work. It could just be something that's the catchiest or the poppiest or whatever. So like I started out, I believe, with the Rock, Stock, and Barrel album, awesome album, and then I worked my way back to, the others. But I'm going to go ahead and get started with this video. But just a disclaimer, I don't have the Angelica demos. Of course, they had a couple cassette demos, which I would love to have. And then in more recent years, I believe Girder did a release of them on CD. So you can get a CD of them, which I need to get. But first, we're going to start off with this album. So it's the self-titled Angelica. And this is the Girder Records release. And that's the back cover. Has like the picture of the band up here and has like, I think it was maybe the band's original logo right there. And this one is on colored vinyl. It's kind of a grayish, purplish marble look, but it's cool looking. It's nicer than just, plain black. Let me see if it has any inserts in here. Can't remember if it had no insert. So I don't know if this thing did or didn't originally come with an insert, but originally you could get this on vinyl and it was a UK pressing. And, those are harder to find. You're usually about $100 a pop. I found this one on eBay, got it used, but it's like new condition. Got it for 20 bucks and then shipping, which is a great deal. That's probably cheaper than what it costs new. But here is the CD, and this is also the Girder release, the Legends of Rock series. And there you can see the inside of the sleeve and the CD, and there's the back. And every time Girder or Retroactive and Rocks Records does these things, they go all out on the artwork. They usually have Scott Waters do the artwork on these things, and they're usually remastered by Rob Caldwell. But like you can see in the artwork here, and then they have, liner notes, they have the lyrics, there's a bunch of cool pictures. And the thing that was really unique about this album was all the people that worked on it. So obviously Angelica it's mainly a band that was basically run by Dennis Cameron. He's the lead guitarist. He did backup vocals. And then I think on, might have been the second album, I think he played the drums or did the digital drums on it. But this album was, it had, what's his name? Ken Tamplin was like the vocal producer for that record. And the vocalist that they had going into that record that did the demos, I think his name was Andy Lyon. They said, just stuff I've read online, that Ken Tamplin was really trying to push Andy to be a stronger vocalist, trying to, probably get him to sing at a higher level, maybe hit higher notes, and just, really, do a work in him. And I guess maybe it was too much for him, so he bowed out of doing the record, and so they brought in Rob Rock. And if anybody knows who Rob Rock is, very powerful voice. But they brought in Rob Rock to do the vocals, did a great job, knocked it out of the park. And then I think Ken Tamplin might have even done some of the backup vocals, and I think Ken Tamplin sang the lead vocals on the last song on here. I believe it's called Face to Face. So yeah, if you get the first Angelica album, oh my goodness, the vocals, the guitars, the bass, everything on here is just awesome. And talking about the bass, the bassist for this band, I believe his name's Robert Palin, if I'm pronouncing that right. Palin. I think it's Palin. Best bassist out there. I've never heard a better bassist. He can just, he can do the slap bass. He sounds like he's playing lead guitar on a bass. You don't hear many rock or metal bands where the bassist is keeping up with the lead like that. And sometimes I think he's doing more on the bass than Dennis was on the guitars. When Dennis is hitting some chords, Robert is over here just tearing up the bass. And he actually has some videos on YouTube. He has a channel, I think it's called Bobby Chops Bass. If you get a chance, check him out. He's on there doing covers of the Angelica songs, and it is just mesmerizing to watch him play these songs that I've heard on these records. Because Angelica only had one music video, and I can't find any live videos of them, no concert footage. There's not much available out there online, really, except for the studio stuff that they did. But next is their second album, Walking in Faith. And oh man, this one, that in my opinion, they went up a notch on this. And here is the inside. If I can get this case open. There we go. Got a picture of Dennis and the CD there, and then you got the back cover. But this thing, it opens up with the title track, Walking in Faith. And the guitars are very just heavy and strong and powerful sounding. The bass is just pounding. I think this is one that Dennis took care of the drums on. Don't know if it was digital drums, I'm assuming. But then like the second song, Hold On, has just, I don't know, this really cool, it's not a hard rock song, but it's not super soft either. It just has a good groove to it, if that makes sense. All I Can Do, that's a softer song. Then track number 4 is my favorite song of theirs of all time, Soul Search. That song is just epic to me. Time and Time Again, that's a good one. Sing and Shout, I love the guitar intro on that. Very Steve Vai on the guitar. Set Me Free, Not Too Late, Bring Into Being, and Harvest. Harvest is, I believe, the instrumental, and it's mostly guitars, but just really good, top-notch record. The only way this is available on vinyl is a UK pressing. They haven't done any reissues on vinyl of this. Of course, they did the CD, but I reached out to Greg Hayes from Gerder Records and just sent him an email and asked him, are you guys going to be doing a remaster or a vinyl, on the Angelica Walking in Faith? And he just messaged back, nope. So I don't know what the deal is with that. Don't know if licensing to get a hold of this one is difficult, if they've had problems, if they tried, I don't know. But he obviously did the self-titled, and he did a Rock, Stock, and Barrel on vinyl. Why this one, I don't know. Maybe Greg can reach out and let us know what's going on with that, because I would love to get my hands on this. But again, to get the UK pressing, you're talking over $100, and most likely having to import it from, I don't know, somewhere. But then the next album is Rock, Stock, and Barrel. And this album's phenomenal. But I forgot to mention they have different vocalists on the first 3 records. Each time it changes. So first one you had Rob Rock and some Ken Tamplin on there. And this one, I think the guy's name is Jerome Paza, or let me look this up. I'm probably butchering this poor guy's name. Jerome, it wasn't Paza, it's Mazza or Mazza. But it's Jerome Mazza, M-A-Z-Z-A. Whoever you are, Jerome Mazza, you had a tremendous voice, and you did great on this album, whoever you are. I've never seen a picture or anything of that guy. I'm not seeing any pictures of the band in the artwork on this one, so I don't even know what Jerome Mazza looked like, but very powerful vocals. He could sing at like just top end, high range the whole time, and just awesome. His voice was the epitome of 80s and early 90s rock sound. Great job on the vocals. But then going into Rock, Stock, and Barrel. And this album is next level. Every time they went up a level on these albums, and they brought in a new vocalist on this one. His name was Drew Baca. I believe that's how he pronounced it. And very impressive vocals. And just the sound that the band had, his vocals really matched that groove and that little bit of funk sound that they had going. He was able to just lay down his vocals in a way that it just went perfectly with Dennis's guitar and Robert's bass. And I mean, they were just like a perfect fit. But here, I'll show you the insides of this one. Man, I can't ever open these backwards. I always have to turn them around to open them. But as you can see, you know, they do top-notch work on the artwork on these every time. I don't have the original CDs of these, but I can only imagine that these are a huge upgrade. You know, you got some pictures of the band in here, and you know, you get the lyric sheets and all that, and picture of the band right here, so you can see what these guys look like. But yeah, so that's Dennis Cameron and Drew Baca, and then you've got Robert Palin right here, and this is the drummer on this album, and let's see what his name was, Bobby Lawrence. Yeah, so you had Bobby Lawrence on drums on this one, but oh my goodness, just the musicianship, the vocals, everything on this album. This album is a dream, and I've never heard anything like it. I've never heard another band that sounds like them. I've never heard another band that sounds like Angelica. And every album, they sounded a little bit different but you could tell the musicians were the same, if that makes sense. I guess changing the vocals and the drum styles, going from maybe drum machines to real drummers, changed that aspect. But oh my goodness. So let's listen to or talk about the tracks. They open with a song called The Fire Inside. Oh my goodness, that song is great. Someone to Believe in Me. That's just like a real happy-go-lucky sounding song. And then the main single was Cover Me, and there's a music video for that. It's the only one you're going to find of Angelica that I know of. Home Sweet Heaven, man, the bass on that is just like a monster. Song called A Little Love, Sail Away, Keep Pushing On. Then the Bumblebee groove. Oh my goodness. It's like Flight of the Bumblebee, but you know, they rearranged it differently, but it's an instrumental, and that thing is just crazy. And like, to watch Robert play that on bass is awesome. Dennis, of course, shreds on everything that he does. Rhyme and Reason, Without Words, and Oh Canada. So then they wrapped it up with Oh Canada, because I'm not sure if the whole band is Canadian, but I know that Dennis Cameron is Canadian. And then we're going on to, it was, I guess, technically their last studio album as a functioning band. And that is Time Is All It Takes. And I do have a cassette of this one. I'd gotten, I don't know, a couple years ago, maybe 3 years ago on eBay. I bought a bunch of these sealed cassettes. So yeah, it's never been opened. And it still has a sticker. It says like Frontline Music Group, buy 4, get 1 free. But yeah, there's the original on cassette. And what's cool about this is it says Angelica, but if you buy this CD in Japan, it'll say Dennis Cameron, Time Is All It Takes. On this one, I guess Dennis was doing a lot of the work. But as you can see on this picture here, it's Dennis with Drew Baca. So you got Drew Baca back on vocals from the Rock, Stock, and Barrel album, which is a good thing. But I don't think, I'm not sure if Robert or Bobby played on this record. But yeah, another great record. And, you know, tracks on here, Gotta Get Ready, Running Wild, Second Chance, I Can Hardly Wait to See, Open Your Mind, Don't Stop, Time Is All It Takes, and Carry Me. Another great album. Then I believe they did a greatest hits album that was put out maybe by Intense / Frontline. I think Intense was owned by Frontline. I think they bought them out or something. But yeah, you can get a greatest hits of them, and I think it's even titled Angelica featuring Dennis Cameron. So I guess at that point they were trying to focus on Dennis more than anything because he was the mainstay of the band. But then years later, this one comes out, Angelica Without Words. And this is an instrumental album put out by Dennis Cameron, and it's really, really good. But he did have some other musicians play on here that's credited. So you've got Dennis Cameron, guitars, keyboards, banjo, and mandolin. Special guest, Paul Otway on bass, or I think it's Otway, or is that a Q? I can't tell. I think it's Otway. David Slim Jim Brown on drums. Then it says Psalm 91 mastered by Rick Brantley. But yeah, here's the inside of this one. Pictures, looks like the pearly gates. Has different things that are credited in here. And then you've got the disc with the guitar on it, and then the back cover here. And what's cool about how I ended up with this one is I hadn't considered buying it yet, but it was around Christmas time when I first started getting into them. I got on Girder and I placed an order for all 4 of the first Angelica CDs here. And so when I placed my order, I was getting Time Is All It Takes, Rock, Stock, and Barrel, Walking in Faith, and the self-titled one. But then when my package came, Time Is All It Takes wasn't in there. Instead, it had this one. And so I wasn't terribly disappointed, but I still wanted the one that I ordered. And I reached out to the Greg from Girder and told him the situation. He said, no problem. He said, I'll send you the one that you did order free of charge. And, you know, you keep the other one. And I was just like, wow, that's awesome. And so, yeah, I've listened to all these. And, of course, I'm missing the greatest hits one. And then I'm missing the demo sessions, which I do plan on getting those. They're definitely worth checking out. If you listen to the demo sessions, you can hear what they sounded like originally with Andy Line on vocals, considering Andy didn't sing on the self-titled album, but I think it had his picture on the back of the cover. But yeah, this is one of my favorite bands, and I've only been listening to them for close to a year now. And it's just crazy that I really missed the train on them for so many years. But yeah, you guys get a chance, check them out, and you won't regret it. But these guys, they have the perfect 1989 to early 90s rock sound, but it's like nothing you've ever heard. So they wasn't playing just regular chords. I mean, everything that they were playing was very intricate on the guitars. So if you're a musician, you're going to love it. You know, whether you're a guitarist, a bassist, whatever, the musicianship, you're not going to beat it. And the vocals, I mean, oh my goodness. I mean, you got guys on here that can hold their weight with guys like Michael Sweet. I mean, they don't sound like Michael Sweet, but I'm talking they can hit the high notes. They can sing at the top end of the high range. I mean, they got it going on. Wish these guys were still together. Wish there was some kind of reunion. Wish they would put out some concert footage or a live album, something like that. And I really would love to see Walking in Faith get put out on vinyl as a reissue. But that's all I have for today. Thanks for watching, and God bless you.